Welcome to another episode of your favorite podcast, Missions and Mimosas, where we have real stories,
real laughs,
real leadership.
Today, we are excited to have our beautiful co-hosts. We have Tammy Marine and Kim Garish, and we have a special guest, Heather Sanford. Heather, for a quick intro, is a CEO of a local nonprofit called Mission Hope. So with that, I am going to
we forgot to clink.
Oh, shit.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Hi, Heather.
I had to take another drink. It's really good.
Right?
Yeah.
Is this not the best podcast you've had so far?
This is my favorite podcast ever. I get to drink and swear and talk
hang
about
out
fun
with us.
things.
Oh my God.
It's very exciting.
And you're so animated, so we're excited to hear
Very
what you have to
excited.
share today.
Oh, okay. I have no idea, but let's do it.
Let's get in there.
Yeah. So you're fairly recent to the CEO role, right? But not recent to philanthropy or nonprofit work.
True. I am little under 2.5 years into this role as the CEO.
And you made it.
And I made it. I'm still here, guys. I'm still here.
That's an accomplishment. Oh, sorry, Kristen.
I know. Is it like the national average of CEO, executive director of a nonprofit? It's like literally 12 or 13 months or something, right?
Yeah, it's rough.
I'm like 2.5 times over. I feel like I should get an award.
You are.
But I've
get an award.
I've been in the nonprofit space for a couple decades, so just in different ways, different roles. But yeah.
Right. So how do you like this as being elevated to CEO? It's so fun, right?
Elevated. It's a great way to put it. It's definitely awesome. It's got its share of challenges, of course, that you guys both know. But I like it. I like being, I've been in executive leadership before, but this is the first time I am like you are the top of the executive leadership.
Right,
Like this is your thing. We're hiring you to run this whole thing. So there's a lot of pressure that comes with that, but it's fun for me because I'm kind of a think outside the box type person. People either love me or they don't. And the people that don't, sometimes I ruffle their feathers a bit. And so to kind of be on the top and be able to be the one that's making the decisions is good for me. It's a good thing to kind of come in, or position to come into after all these years and feel like, okay, these people are trusting me and I have vision and I have strategy and let's do this. But with that comes a lot of sleepless nights that I've never had before and a lot of stress and just the reality of that. Yeah. But I love it.
So wait, before you were in development, right? You primarily did programs or fundraising?
No, not really development. So I came from the ministry world actually.
Okay.
So I was doing in nonprofit spaces, mostly in religious nonprofit spacing, but a lot of fundraising in those spaces.
And people don't realize churches are a nonprofit too.
They are a nonprofit. So it's kind of a different leg, but yeah. So I did a lot of programming and fundraising in that world for a couple decades. Yes.
So what was the biggest thing when you came into your role that surprised you in a good way and also a bad way in terms of the shift from that environment to really leading a major organization in the Valley?
Oh, such a great question. You guys did not send me these questions beforehand. I really should have studied.
We wanted you to be authentic,
Right.
which you are.
Which I always am.
We're making it up as we go
Okay,
also,
good.
so just say you can also say, I don't want to answer that, let's talk about this.
To be honest, that might be
You can say that.
You guys just kind of gave me a hint to my own answer because
Pass.
the reality is I'm a little bit surprised that a well-established nonprofit was still flying the plane as they were building the plane all these years in. Right. So I came into this, understanding through the interview process, the goods and the bads and the uglies a little bit, because the board really did share some vulnerable things with me. Here's where we're at. Here's some different things about our history and our finances and whatnot. So I knew it would be a challenge, but I kind of came in thinking, oh, wow, this is something that I thought would have been established 15 years ago or 10 years ago or 5 years ago at least. And so just learning that learning curve, that there was a lot more to be done and kind of from the ground up, that surprised me.
And let me turn that for a second. And so what did you learn about yourself that maybe you weren't as prepared for that you could have been?
Oh my goodness. Everything. How long is the podcast?
Right. It's not that long. We're still
I've learned so much.
Never mind.
Yeah. I know. I really I feel like this has been one big steep learning curve for me. It's like, when you've have a career for 2 decades already, and there's certain things I thought, I'm really good at this, or I excel in this area. And then I came into this space, I'm like, humble.
Right?
Like, no, you don't know this, and you don't know that, and this is different. And so that's been humbling for sure. And
we still feel like that. Every day.
I'll tell you, when you walked in my office, when you called and said, hey, I want to talk to you, I'm new, and you walked in, I was like, oh my God, breath of fresh air.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, this is a fun person in our new
Yes.
nonprofit space.
Right. I
love
You've
that.
got blue hair because people don't know. Maybe they
true.
do. This is your look all the time.
Yeah.
With
Yeah.
your flower, which I learned about that story recently.
Whole
But
story, yeah.
just a breath of fresh air for the nonprofit space. Like you're honest and you're real and you're fun and you're funny. And just like the other day, we were at an event that I hosted for the chamber, and how you're like, no, here's what you really need to know. Here's
Yeah.
a real question that you need to ask,
Yes,
right? And
yes.
so I love that about you.
Well, I love
And
that.
sorry, I like what you just said though, because that is nonprofit 101 is there are people that are nonprofit people that are just real, true, and you can just tell. And then people that migrate into the field that are also amazing, but there's just that thread of authenticity and really caring about making the world a better place. And you just exude that. And so that part is fun.
You guys are gonna make me cry. Missions and Mimosas and many tears. Okay. Well, yeah. I mean, I appreciate that, and that's one thing that I knew coming in from the beginning that I could be me.
Yeah.
And I look a lot younger than I am, so I'm.
Lucky.
But I'm not as old as you guys. You guys are so much older than me. I'm kidding.
That's
Wow.
absolutely
Just
true.
kidding, cheers. Okay. No. But I'm almost half a century old here, so I can say that I kind of entered into this role thinking this is the second half of my career. Like where I've established who I am. I've learned a lot, and I came into this role thinking I just want to be me. Like I don't really have any more F's to give. I've kind of played
There
the.
you go.
Oh, does that
Yeah.
count? Okay,
I
gotcha.
love that.
We'll
You guys
take
know,
it.
you guys know
Amen,
what it stands
sister.
for?
Yeah.
Okay,
Uh-huh.
good. And so I wanted to just be me unapologetically. And yet right away I learned, okay, I'm not just representing Heather Sanford.
Right.
I'm representing an entire organization
Yeah.
that has 4 decades of deep roots in a community. So I have to be able to take off that Heather Sanford hat and represent Mission Hope.
Yeah.
And that was a very quick learning curve for me because I came into the role feeling like, yes, I want to be here. I want to do this. I feel I can offer so much is how I felt. And I had a lot to learn, obviously a lot to learn. And yet I wanted to be me. So when I go into those spaces, I sat in that meeting the other day you mentioned, because I remember being in a meeting 2 years ago in that very room, not knowing one person in there. And you don't know what you don't know in the nonprofit
Yeah,
space. You
right.
think you know a lot, but
think
then you
you
just
do.
don't.
Yeah.
And so the people were asking a couple of questions and I'm like, that's not quite it, but I know what she's getting after.
Right.
So I just raised my hand and actually I need to know. I don't need to actually know it. I probably still do, but I wanted to ask on behalf of somebody that didn't really quite know how to articulate what they needed.
Yeah.
Because they have expertise in that room that they don't really know how to connect to.
Yeah.
And that's been a really fun thing about the last 2.5 years is being able to sit in that room. I was actually telling Christy about it after. It's fun to sit in that room now, 2.5 years later, and be the one after that people are coming up and saying, okay, I don't know who you are, but I need to know you. Can you help me with this, and this? I'm like, oh, because that was me with you two. When I first came in the space, I just Googled the nonprofits in my area and who are the executive directors or CEOs. And so I just there were 6 different people I contacted, and not all of them even responded, which is funny. And to this day, but that's okay. But you guys did.
But just
I
so
thought
you
that was a
know,
cool story, actually.
that's actually true of us too. Like we are constantly learning and growing. I don't know how many times I've called Kim or other people in the nonprofit sector to ask questions about different things. We're never done.
Yes.
We're never where we need to be. And there's always a place where you get a lesson taught to you that you don't want taught. But that is an aha, like, oh gosh, why didn't I do it this way or whatever it is. So that's a part of the evolution, I think, of staying on your A game with being a nonprofit leader.
Yeah, well, and I just appreciate you guys so much because I remember coming to Michelle's place for the first time and meeting you, Kim, and walking in. You had your cool office and your amazing place that's
she's
just been
beautiful
redone, and you're like tall and like
friendly
eloquent,
and,
friendly, and smiling. Like, who's this gorgeous gal? And then we walked through, and it was great. And I thought, this is the person that I know I want to connect with.
Yeah.
But you didn't know me from Adam, so even to take the phone call and take the meeting, and but we connected right away. And then Tammy, I think, is an even better story because I was trying to get a hold of her, and she's like, I don't know this person. And she's like doing a million things. So then we finally scheduled a Zoom call. I don't even know if you remember this. And I walked away from that meeting thinking, this lady does not ever want to talk to me ever again.
No, that's
And
not even true.
but now full circle, you're the one I'm closest to in the Valley. Like we connect. Like
Yeah.
Tammy's like mentoring me. 'Cause I'm like, hey, I need you in my ear all the time. So I love the way it works out. And
funny.
that's something I would say.
I
to,
got to
like,
work on my Zoom call etiquette, I think.
we just had a lot going on. I think that's something I would say to young CEOs that are getting into it is be bold and take those steps to reach out. You're not going to be able to do this on your own.
Yeah,
And
that's
just
so good.
pound the pavement to other local seasoned nonprofit leaders that do know what they're doing and also don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
And that's the other beautiful thing of it's not necessarily surprising, but to go back to that full circle first question, I love the more I get to know people like you guys, that we're all human. We're all getting ready the same way in the morning. We actually don't know. You don't ever really arrive to where you're like, I know everything about this nonprofit world and everything's going to be great. So just knowing that took a little bit of pressure off too, to know that there's these seasoned leaders that have been at this for decades and they're still learning. So then it's okay for me to constantly still be learning too.
Yeah.
So
Well, that reminds me of, I was teasing with our staff about some of the city meetings that we have. And I said I wanted in our conditions of approval that we should be required to have a shot of Jameson before the meeting starts.
Amen.
Because I sit in the meeting sometimes going, yes, yes. And inside I'm going, I do not know what that's about. And so when I leave, I'm researching, I'm chat GPT and trying to figure out what that thing is, because we're constantly exposed to things that we're having to learn and evolve.
It's moving so fast. So that's actually another thing that if you were to have coffee with me 2.5 years ago and ask me about legislative things for housing or, the nonprofit world where we deal with food and housing insecurity, if you were to ask me 2.5 years ago about A, B, and C, I would have been like, well, I don't have any idea what you're talking about. Now I feel like I've been just scratching the surface of being educated to be in different forums and different arenas to find out how legislation impacts us but how quickly it moves. So to be able to pivot, and you're so right. Like when I went into my first couple of city council meetings or things to receive a grant or to propose things, I thought this language might as well be Greek to me.
And they are great. You
know,
they're wonderful. It's no criticism there, but what is interesting in the nonprofit world over the past 20 years is our level of accountability has risen so high, and the complexity of working through some of these social issues, whether it's housing or health or whatever it might be. And so there's just so many hoops to jump through now that it was different in the old days when, you ran something out of the church. It was just a whole different ballgame than it is now.
Yeah, I think that's what people don't realize about the nonprofit space is people get into it because they have a good heart and they want to learn and they want to, they have this passion and this calling. And then they don't realize the other side of the Wizard of Oz curtain is a whole lot of politics and legislation and reality and the community. And there's so many different balls you're juggling constantly that it just gets overwhelming. So having community like this and connection, I think, is what we need more of.
I do too. I love our community here in the Valley. I'm so grateful for Kim and so many other nonprofit professionals in the areas. Just and it makes work fun.
It is fun.
You don't feel so alone, right? Like you were talking about, because it could be lonely too, right? Because you don't have anyone else to talk to. So even just calling to vent or be, after leaving a meeting and calling, going, "Are you freaking kidding me?"
And having a safe space without
just
judgment
say
to say. And I've done that, I think, to both of you. Like, what was that about? Like, what? I new kid here. I'm asking the new question. But is that normal, or and we all can process it and then still lead our organizations well, from the front-facing side of it, but have that camaraderie on the back end to feel not alone. Because what's the old adage? Leadership is lonely at the top, and that's another thing that has been surprising and hard over these last couple of years. Because I'm a highly I know it's hard to imagine, but I'm a highly extroverted, relational person.
That's weird.
No,
I know. So to feel like I'm making all these decisions, but then at the top feeling like sometimes I don't feel like I have that peer-to-peer, at least organizationally, to really hold the burden with, and so to have other like-minded leaders to go to, it's significant.
And then you have the amazing Christy.
Oh my goodness! And then I have the lottery here because Christy's actually on my team.
Nice.
I was going to mention that, but
But one thing, it's hard to sometimes vent to your staff because you want them to feel confident and that everything's going to be okay. And so I always had to have like a fine line there on what I was willing to to share. And that's another reason why
Yeah.
it feels lonely sometimes. And
I wish you would have told me that on the Zoom call, Tammy, 2.5 years ago, because that's one thing I've had to
probably
learn.
did.
Because I do. Christy probably walks away sometimes going, I didn't need to know any of that stuff. Because maybe you
Never.
don't. Okay, maybe I'm
Never.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
I do feel like I'm a more of a collaborative leader than like a top-down directive type
Yeah.
leader.
Yep.
So I want my executive
Yeah.
team to fill a part and have a
Right.
voice. But to a fault, sometimes I'm very wordy. As you can tell now by listening to the podcast, I speak a mile a minute. So I need to calm down sometimes and not share as many words. And that even adheres to my staff. Like sometimes I need to keep the cards behind the curtain and just empower them to be encouraged and keep running the race and knowing that they're doing great while I'm dealing with the mess over here that they don't even need to know
Yeah.
about. So
Thank
Yeah.
you, God.
that's something that's all I got. I wish I would have learned that
because of that. Just saying.
I wish I would have learned that a little bit sooner, but I have learned that quickly in this game. So yeah.
Well, we definitely appreciate having you. And so I'm going to bring us out. But before we do that, is there maybe for you guys one thing as seasoned CEOs that, oh my God, I wish I would have known this like real quick? Or maybe not. Or is there one thing that you've said a lot
I
that
have
you've
said a
learned?
lot. I would like to learn more from you. Put you guys on the spot.
I mean, the reason I do the things like I did at the chamber or welcome anyone who calls that says I'm a new CEO of a nonprofit in town and I say, come on over, let me talk to you, is because I didn't have that as much. Like we did,
Yeah.
we were all started at the same time. So we
Yeah.
were newbies at the same
That's
time.
so true. I
And
didn't
so
think about that.
I want to be that person for somebody. So if you're new, again, I'm happy to welcome you in. And great, I just said that out loud to a podcast.
Yes, reach out to
but-
Kim and not Heather Sanford. Her phone number is.
Tammy Marie, don't do Zoom. Just kidding. Okay, well, here we go. Thank you, Heather, for being here. And cheers to lessons, lifelong learning, great stories, some tears, and lots of laughter.
Yay, cheers.
Cheers, girls.